Today we're going to talk about some really important things that they don't tell you that you should know. This is like the first thing they should teach you in school. What do you do if your house starts flooding? What do you do if somebody has a heart attack? I mean, there's so many important things they don't teach you that they really should. So I'm going to teach you a lot of important things today that could save you not just $50,000 to $100,000, but it could actually save someone's life. So first of all, let's start with water flooding the house. This is such a common problem, and it's so easily preventable in so many cases. The most common place for a water leak to start that floods houses is actually accessible. It's these things right here that are in the back of every sink and every toilet in every house. These are called angle stops, or water shutoffs, or whatever you want to call it. This is what you turn to shut off the water. And so this and the braided supply line, the feed lines, are where most of the leaks start. And a big reason for that is because of hard water. There are minerals in the water, and they build up in these angles. See, the water comes in here and it goes up here. This is a 90-degree angle. And there's a lot of sediment that builds up in here, especially calcium and hard minerals. And if you don't, this is the big problem. This is what most people don't do. They don't do anything about this. And then one day this just bursts in water, especially if it's on a second floor or something and it floods everything below that. These things, these angle stops, need to be turned a couple times a year at least. It's called exercising the angle stop. That's what the plumbers call it. Even those things need to exercise. What this does, doing this once or twice a year, a couple times, is it breaks up the calcium buildup in there. And calcium is what eats away at the metal that these things are made of. And so that's very, very important. So if you have not done this, and most people don't, they don't even know this, you should switch out the angle stops and the braided supply line of every sink, toilet, tub, bidet that you have in your house. We just did this. We went through every bathroom and kitchen and everything that we have, one of these things, and we replaced them all, because that's where the leaks usually start. Sure, sometimes it starts in the wall, in the pipes, but most of the time it's these right here. So if you haven't done so, I would seriously suggest investing a bit of money and having a plumber come in and replace the angle stops and the braided supply line of everything, all toilet sinks, under the sink, in the kitchen, everywhere in the house. I know it sounds like a bit of money, but it's a lot cheaper than having to have half your house ripped apart because water got into the walls and the floors, and it has to get ripped up because mold is growing in there, and you have to rebuild half your house. So that's the second place where water leaks start is your water heaters. This is a huge one. Now, luckily, most water heaters are near the garage, so if it floods the garage and not the house, but it still floods. This is very, very common. And the reason for that is, again, hard minerals inside here, which eventually also the cheapness of a lot of water heaters nowadays. And basically the salt and the minerals and the calcium starts rusting the inside of the water heaters. And then you've also got the minerals in your pipes and stuff. So anyway, it all builds up in the bottom of your water heater tanks. And that builds up sediment. So what you need to do is flush your water heater at least once a year to get that sediment out. I'm not going to show you exactly how to do it, but that's what this is right here. You hook a garden hose up to this, and then you just run the hose to wherever you want to drain it, like a clean out drain. Which actually brings me to a really important thing. If your house starts flooding, the first thing you need to do is turn off the water. Do you even know where the main water shutoff is for the house? Most people don't. I mean, there is a main one at the front of the property where the meter usually is. You require a special tool to turn that off, but there's usually sometimes a second one closer to the house. And if there's an emergency, you got to know how to shut that water off right away. You also need to learn how to shut off the power, the electricity, and the gas. Train your family, train the kids, have a drill every few months. Quick, let's shut off the water. Quick, let's shut off the electricity. Quick, let's shut off the gas. You got to learn how to do that. It's so important. Otherwise, your house could flood, it could burn, or it could explode. So many important things to learn. All right, the water. Let's get back to the water heater here. You got to flush your water heaters out at least once a year. And the second thing that you should do, which is really important, most people don't know about this, but water heaters, all water heaters have what's called a sacrificial anode. And what that is it's a rod. It's just a piece of metal that sticks in through the top, and it's designed to eat away, to corrode, when the minerals in the water touch it. So what it does is it sacrifices itself so the minerals don't eat up the inside of the water heater. After about a year or two, that thing is gone and the minerals start eating up the water heater. Most people don't know this. You're supposed to replace that anode rod at least every 2 years. Most of the ones that come out nowadays are made from a magnesium, which is a cheap metal, and it corrodes very quickly. And so I suggest getting a aluminum rod. So every year or two, or whatever your water condition is, talk to your local water people. But I suggest switching out the anode rod in your water heaters at least every 2 years. If it's magnesium, which it probably is, for sure. If it's aluminum, then every maybe 3 years. But it's so important to switch out. Otherwise, the inside of your water heater starts rusting, corroding out, and then it's just water everywhere. So that's so important. Anode, replace the anode, the sacrificial anode in the water heaters. If you hear a popping or rumbling sound in your water heater, and some people have these also underneath the sink, like an instant water heater, or from your water tank, a big water heater. If you hear a popping or a rumbling sound, or like a stomach gurgling, that means that you have sediment that is covering or calcium and minerals that are covering your heating coils, and the water is actually boiling underneath there, and it's popping and it's popping in bubbles and trying to get out. So that's a sign that you need to clean your water heaters and also your InstaHeat under the sink in the kitchen. We just had that done also a few months ago, where you clean out and one way to do that with the InstaHeat sometimes is to put the plumber uses a special vinegar acid that melts away the corrosion, and then he runs a pump through it until it's gone. But you should have a plumber do that. Anyway, okay, moving on. All right, heart attacks. Most people are a walking heart attack waiting to happen. So what do you do? Well, obviously the best thing is to prevent it first. Do the things to prevent a heart attack. Like, for example, one of the biggest times when heart attacks happen is right after people wake up. And why is that? Well, when you breathe, you're breathing water vapor out. Just put a piece of glass over your mouth when you're breathing. You'll see water hitting the glass. All night long, you are breathing water out of your body. So by the time you wake up 8 hours later, you are dehydrated and your blood is thick. And it's like trying to move cement through a straw. Really, that's why when people wake up, especially if they wake up to they're startled to a hurry, you got to get up, or there's noises, or this alarm clock, or whatever it is. If you're startled when you wake up and your blood is thick like cement and it can't push through, heart attack. Or if you are suddenly wake up and you start checking emails and you start stressing out and you haven't drank water yet, heart attack. So the first thing you should do when you wake up is drink a giant glass of water. That's the most important thing. You got to thin your blood so it starts flowing again through your body. Okay, but what do you do if somebody's having a heart attack? Most people don't know what to do in an emergency. Well, the first thing is, no matter what emergency, obviously call 911. Call the emergency services. Don't try to save the person yourself. Always call 911. Then, step 2, if the person is still conscious and able to think and move a little bit, give them an aspirin, an adult aspirin or 4 child aspirins. Make them chew it, not swallow it with water, but chew it. That powder dissolves under the tongue and gets into the system and helps helps a little. Now, that's obviously if they are not allergic to it, if they don't have bleeding problems or things like that. So if they're okay with an aspirin, that's the first thing to do. Not 2, not 3. Now you're getting into stomach ulcers and bleeding problems and all that. 1 adult aspirin. Then sit them down in a chair and cool them off and make sure they're okay. Now, if they pass out, if they are unresponsive, if they are just passed out and you think they're goners, lay them out on a hard floor, not on a bed, not on a soft bed, on a hard floor. Now, this dummy here, his head is forward like this. You do not want to put a pillow under their head. You want their head laying on the hard floor. You want a hard floor. Next thing you do is you put your head down here and you see if they are breathing or not. See if their chest is going up or down. That means they're breathing. If they're not breathing, check for a pulse on the neck. See if there's a pulse on the neck. If they're not breathing, if you don't see this, if you don't feel a pulse, and they're starting to turn blue, you need to take action, because every moment that goes by, their brain could die within minutes from lack of oxygen. Brain damage can happen within minutes if you don't start doing something. And that ambulance could take 15 minutes, 20 minutes, who knows how long till they get here. So you got to take action. Now, you've seen people do the pinch the nose and blow and all that. Unless you're an expert, don't do that. What you should do is hands-only compression. And that is where you compress, because what you want to do is you want to keep the blood moving. You don't want it to just not move. So 2 hands, okay, like this, in the middle of the chest, right here, right in the sternum, right where the cross is, like right here. Okay, and keep your arms locked and straight up and down. Don't come in from an angle. Push the chest in 2 inches twice a second. That's the same beat as staying alive, ironically. Like that, and you don't stop. You see videos of people doing a couple of compressions and then blowing and compression. That's for experts. You do not do that because you're not an expert. You just keep doing this until help arrives. You do not stop, because what this is doing is pushing blood. It's making blood pump, okay? You do not want to stop that. Now, this is the sad part. If you're dealing with an elderly person or a fragile, smaller, weaker female, you could break ribs. You might hear crack, crack. Don't freak out. Don't be gentle. I mean, I hate to say this, but cracked ribs are easier to deal with than a dead person. If you crack a rib or 2, keep going. Don't be softer. Don't feel, I know you feel bad for the person, but you got to keep pumping that blood, because if you don't, they're going to get brain damage and die. You got to keep it going. They can fix broken ribs. They cannot fix a dead person. So this is really, really important. If somebody's having a heart attack, that's what you do. And you don't stop until help gets here. Okay? So step 1, check for breathing. Check for pulse. If there isn't any, lay them on a flat surface, head back a little bit, and just start pumping twice a second to the beat of staying alive. If they are still conscious, have them chew an aspirin. So that's really important. And most important of all is try not to get to this point. Do things that prevent or minimize the chance of this happening. If you smoke, if you vape, stop. No alcohol. Exercise. Eat healthy. You know what the number 1 cause of heart problems is? Watch my heart video. I'll put the link down below. It's inflammation. The number 1 cause of inflammation, a buildup of plaque in the arteries, is sugar. Glycation. So that means refined carbs, all the ice cream and pizza and pasta and bread and cookies and crackers, it adds up in more so than anything else. So limit the alcohol, healthy foods, manage stress. Obviously, stress tightens things up. Coffee tightens things up. Smoking tightens things up. Exercise is really important. Obviously, you got to move your body more than anything else. And so you got obviously blood sugar, blood pressure, and you got to get a sleep, 7 to 9 hours of sleep a day. Get the best sleep you can get. Sleep is one of the most healing things. Drink water the minute you get up. Okay, so this is a heart attack. Cardiac arrest happens more quickly. There's very little you can do with that. Call 911, do compressions, and that's all you can do. If they have nitroglycerin and they're still conscious, that's a step 2 if you don't want to do an aspirin. But anyway, okay, so that's a heart attack. What about choking? What if you're at a party and it's just suddenly somebody starts choking? Well, first of all, ask them if they're choking. And, banging on the back is what people think the best thing is to do. The first thing is tell the person, cough, 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 and they just make themselves cough as much as possible, if they're able to. If they're not able to cough, then and they look like they're about to die and they can't breathe and they're about to pass out. What you do is you make a fist and you put it above the belly button and below the ribs. You pull up and in like this. What you're doing is you're making the diaphragm push up, and that diaphragm pushes everything up that's in there, so that's caught. So you do that 5 times. You pull in and up, like that, okay? Above the belly button, below the ribs, in and up 5 times, 5 times. And after 5 times of that, if there's no response, then you whack them on the back, right here between the shoulder blades, 5 times. 5 times, really, really hard. I'm hurting my hand here. All right, 5 times whacking on the back really hard between the shoulder blades. And if that doesn't work, you're back to doing the Heimlich again. So keep alternating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bam, 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 bam. 1, 2, 3, 4. But you don't do the same thing over and over. You do 5 Heimlichs, 5 slaps. And of course, you already called 911. And if that doesn't work, then lay them down. And you've already called 911 by now, and you're back to doing the compressions again, okay? You got to do compressions because the pumping blood actually can help push things out. So Heimlich, slapping, compression. 911, obviously. Now, something else that is something that people don't take seriously but should, and that is going for a walk after eating. People do not take this seriously enough. It is actually could make the difference between life and death. Walking after eating activates your muscles, which pulls glucose out of the blood immediately, reducing blood sugar spikes, insulin demand, and insulin sensitivity, which, as you know, is one of the major reasons for metabolic dysfunction, which is directly associated with cardiovascular risk, heart health, and lowering blood pressure because the muscles have been activated. And because you're reducing glucose spikes, you're minimizing the excessive insulin secretion that encourages the body to store fat. And nothing helps you go to the bathroom better than going for a walk after eating. So it's good for your heart, your waist size, and your longevity. So you're reducing your blood pressure, improving your digestibility and your insulin sensitivity, which is so important for staying alive. It affects you in so many ways. If you feel heavy and bloated after eating and all you want to do is just lie down on the couch, then you ate the wrong foods. And the worst thing you could do is to not move your body after eating. Something else they don't tell you to do is every 2 or 3 weeks to run the water in every sink, tub, and toilet in the house for 30 seconds. What this does is it fills up the P-trap underneath, which is what prevents sewer gas from coming up through the pipes. That water evaporates after a few weeks, so if you don't fill it back up, you're going to start getting the sewer gases coming up through the pipes. Most people have a spare bedroom, spare bathroom that they don't use, and that's where it comes up out of. So every sink, tub, and toilet in the house or bidet, run it for like 20, 30 seconds every few weeks so you don't wonder why your house smells so bad. And finally, something that they don't teach you but should, and that is the importance of investing. It is one of the most important things for having a successful, happy, and I'm not just talking about money here. I'm not talking about making it big in the stock market. I'm talking about investing in everything, in your health, in your relationships, and money, obviously, too. And they especially don't teach you how to do that. I get so many people in the comments all the time who are miserable. They're bitter because of their financial situation, and they just feel there's nothing they can do about it. And they feel like a victim and that they're stuck and they don't see any way out of it. And all they do is they see themselves paying bills, and then they have nothing in the bank. Well, that is where investing comes in. And people think investing means, I know the common reaction is, well, I don't have any money to invest. I don't have anything. This is so important. I wrote 2 books about it, The Prosperity Secret and Instructions for a New Life. It doesn't matter how bad off you are. You need to invest. You need to take a fraction of what you make. If you make $10, take $1 and put it aside into something that grows, not something that you like. And this is something that a lot of people don't understand about investing. They think, I'm going to buy a house or land that goes up in value and then I'll sell it and make a profit. Gold or silver or a stock that goes up in value. I'm going to buy stock in Tesla or Amazon or Coca-Cola and I'll wait for it to go up and then I'll sell it. When you buy, say, something that goes up in value and then you sell it, you pay taxes on that. If it went up by $10,000, $3,000 of that goes right to the IRS. You just wasted a whole bunch of time and money and most importantly, you don't have it anymore. It's gone. And I guarantee you, whatever profit you made is going to be spent the first week. That's the way people are. What you want to do is invest in something that you never sell, but it keeps paying you until the day you die. And that's what you need to invest in. And that is compounding assets. Not something that you wait for it to go up in value and then you sell it, then you don't have it anymore, and 1/3 of that profit goes to the IRS. That's what you don't want. And it's really easy. Once you get into the habit of doing it, no matter how broke you are, a lot of people who are really successful will tell you that they lost everything they had. They were kicked out. They lost their house. They lost their job. They lost whatever it is, but they did not touch their investments. You can get a house back. You can get another job. You can get, whatever is meant to be with you will not go away. Everything else is temporary. I don't worry about losing things, including a home or a job or anything like that, because I know I'm going to be fine. I'm going to have a roof over my head at some point. You will always be taken care of if you know the basics. But investing is so important, and I will make a whole series about this. But it is one of the most important things in life. The sooner you start, this is what they should be teaching kids in school when they're teenagers. When you make money, do not spend all of it. That money is not yours. Part of it belongs to the IRS. Part of it belongs to life. But part of it belongs to your future. And if you don't invest in your future with money and health and relationships, you're going to be miserable. You're going to be unhappy and bitter and resentful. And that's not a way to live life. So I'm here to show you how all of this is important for having a good life. You don't want, and of course you don't want to, if you did make some money, the last thing you want to do is spend that $100,000 rebuilding your house because it just got damaged with water damage or mold or something like that. You have to, investing in your future that also means replacing your water spigots and your braid lines, your supply lines behind each toilet and each sink. That's investing in your future. Investing in your future is not just buying stocks and gold. It's investing in eating right so you don't get sick, so you don't have this ridiculous hospital bill that nobody can pay. And exercise is investing in your future. These are things that are not fun. They're boring. Exercise is boring. Buying an investment and forgetting about it is boring. It's not glamorous like going on a vacation or something. But I guarantee you, the more you invest in your future, the more amazing of a future you're going to have. It is one of the most important lessons in life that they don't teach you in school. They teach you to get married, have a house with a white picket fence, get a job, work 9 to 5, and then you're miserable for the rest of your life. And you hope that Social Security is going to take care of you. That's not living. That's surviving. And if you're going to spend time on planet Earth, You want to live. You want to have an experience that you can remember and say it was worth it being here. You're not here to just work and then die. You're here to experience life. And that's what I'm here to help you do, is to help you free yourself, to experience freedom, to live the life that you deserve. So keep watching this channel. A lot more good stuff on the way. All right. I hope this helps. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.